So this is the last page. The last page is the page that I do first. And we're back for another sketchbook tour. I literally finished the sketchbook 5 minutes ago maybe, and I am ready to move on. I think I was done with this sketchbook even before I got to the halfway point. If you haven't seen that video, go to part 1. It was really hard to continue sketching in this sketchbook after I reached the middle point. You can see that from me just doodling with leaves and making a mess with my Poscas that I then had to cover up with another One Magazine collage. I didn't have a lot to work with in this magazine, but I really did enjoy this octopus hedge maze. And so I just put these little corn babies on a raft out at sea. This is more just doodling, just trying to use this sketchbook. I was doing a lot of art outside of this sketchbook, which I also think contributes to how difficult it was to continue to use this as a practice. But here I was trying to figure out water and how water moves, just coloring it with pencil, and then with the same pencils I just started practicing my Loomis heads because I'm constantly trying to practice drawing faces. Here I am trying to practice drawing my dog again because he's also complicated. This is not correct at all. 6 attempts in. Well, to be fair, he doesn't hold still very long. But another side view is pretty accurate. This is a whole lot of mess. I was trying watercolors in this book and it really didn't work, but this was an underwater fish scene. I spent a week at our camp by the water just drawing and taking in the wildlife. I saw bald eagles and dragonflies and these tiny little furball rodents that ran under the dock, and I couldn't capture any of them because they moved way too fast, so I ended up drawing the dock instead. This next part, how do I do this? This was just my breakfast that day. I'll often draw my tea and whatever I'm eating if I don't know what to draw. Those are my medications that I have to take every day, which is why they're covered up. And this was me trying to figure out how to draw loons. I'm still not very good at the beak shape and the neck shape. I really find it difficult to find their silhouette when I'm drawing them, and their silhouette is really what distinguishes them from ducks. So having trouble with loons there, but at least I tried. Here I am drawing again with just some 5-minute quick sketches of cats because I'm not good at drawing cats. So I don't want to waste time on something that I'm not going to like. I just want to practice. Hence, another good use of my sketchbook. But of course, drawing like this, where everything just turns out bleg and I don't like it, really sends me off the art path, and I have to force myself back into it. And I grab Poscas or something with lots of color and easy to get down on the paper. And this is what I was doing here. And then a literal message to myself because I was thinking of what I could do to get happy. And so I started singing the song in my head. Come on, get happy. Come on, get happy. That didn't work though. So I started drawing burbs. Still trying to use pencils. I used to use pencils all the time as a kid. Turns out I hate them as an adult. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the pencil itself. I haven't really tried it on different paper. Here I am still trying to figure out to use these pencils, and I'm not enjoying them, so I just gave up really quickly and drew more burbs. Burbs doing happy things to make me happy. This must have been a better day because I'm actually trying and using those other pens I have. Here I started searching for more inspiration. I'm constantly looking on Pinterest and things, but here I wanted to focus on artists. So this is Hokusai, I think is how you pronounce it. He has these whole books on how to draw, or paint in ink with one stroke. Obviously I didn't do that, but I really liked the style, and so I was trying to imitate it with my brush pen. Here's a breakfast that I wish I had rather than just tea every morning. I love an English breakfast, baked beans, eggs, even black and white pudding. I would do that every day if I could. Here I was watching Dimension 20 on YouTube, and I was just drawing Siobhan Thompson, who's one of the characters, if you're familiar with that show. They play D&D. It's amazing. She's one of the best improvers on the show. And again, more flowers with bumblebees. I draw this when I don't know, flowers are just my go-to, I guess, and then I add the bees for flavor because I've seen so many of them this summer. And of course, just using the back of that page, I did a non-referenced beekeeper. This was the first cat that looks like a cat that I drew, and I was so excited about that I inked it with a brush pen and then put curtains and a little mouse behind it. Although my mouse looks like a computer mouse instead of a real mouse. Still calling this one a win. I'm still struggling on how to fill this sketchbook, going back to one of my really early techniques, which is practicing hands. If you don't know what to do on a page and you're really stumped, practice something you're not good at. Just use one half of a page. And I do that so that I don't have another blank page staring at me the next time I sit down. If I use half of a page, it's a lot easier to just jump in because there's already something next to it. It's not a blank page anymore, even though this is a completely different composition. It was easier to start working on the fish because I already had doodles of hands. It's just another tip that I use to get myself past these barriers that my mind creates for me. Here I had a lot of fun. I don't remember why I started doing this. I must have seen some line work on Pinterest and I was like, yes, I have not done line work in so long. And I wanted to just try some thumbnailing of line work and see what kind of lines I could make. This is a really good practice because lines are one of the fundamentals of art, and it's so difficult to get the lines the way you want them if you don't practice how they go down. So here I was practicing water with lines, landscape, water, and clouds, different types of clouds with just lines. Here I am struggle busing again, so I went to an artist and just sort of tried to draw in their style. This is Pavonis Giron, I think. Again, I'm not looking these guys up. I'm just looking at their art, so I don't know how to pronounce their names. Here I was like, what does a mushroom look like? I'll draw a mushroom. And then that is what I produced, and I hated it so much I had to take a break. This mushroom was literally drawn the next day because I was so upset with myself that is what a mushroom came from out of my head. But again, this little no reference thing I do all the time to remind myself that my brain lies to me, because your brain fills in information that it doesn't have. So it's constantly lying to you. That's why references are so important. Oh no, I didn't put the reference here. This is by an artist, what is her last name? I have to look that up. Atel Adnan. So she was an artist who used shapes and colors in a really interesting way. And this was a sort of arts kid lesson that I saw on YouTube by Art John, if you know him. Shout out to Art John, who talks about creating lots and lots and lots of variations of using 3 different shapes. Here I use 2 different shapes, 3 colors to work on composition. And so I do these exercises when I don't know what to draw. I really enjoy it as a break from my line-heavy, detail-oriented brain, sort of reminding myself of backgrounds and composition and other things that are important. More flowers and more line work. And here I am drawing a fish from the exact same angle as before, the exact same fish. This is not a fish from reality. It's just what I draw when I draw fish. I don't know why. Here I am attempting to practice figure drawing again. This is my first attempt. I wanted her to be like leaning up against a wall, but then I realized that the wall I made was actually a circle based on how her body was fitting. And none of this is great anatomy, so I tried again. And the anatomy is much better. And if you don't ever do this, if you don't like draw something repeatedly without erasing, I really, really recommend this because you're basically looking at your own mistakes and correcting as you draw. And if you erase this, then you can't see the mistakes you made, so it's harder to correct. And I know that this is ugly, but this made this possible. And I like to just, remember that. Remember that this is the same exact day, 5 minutes apart. You can draw. It's just sometimes your head and your hand don't talk very well. I have another collage, so that must mean that I hated this a lot and that this wasn't helping. So I have another One Magazine collage, and this was the most boring magazine in the whole world. Everything in it was beige. I was struggle busting to find anything I liked, so this chandelier, when I cut it out, really screamed sea serpent to me, and so that's what I did. And to me, it's sort of like this beige is the monster, right? So it's like, it's already in the home. Like, you don't even notice how invasive it is. And the creature comforts are the ones that are the baddies and attacking. Woof. Okay, so this was Labor Day weekend. I finished this the day before I went to see family, and when you are dealing with 50 family members, some of them who speak different languages, some of them who are under 1 year old, it's a lot. So this was just at night before bed, putting something down every night. And you can see that I didn't do great. These are literally just doodles. And this might look like garbage, but at least I drew every single day of Labor Day weekend. And that was the goal. The goal is to get something into the sketchbook, even when I'm not doing anything else. And of course, coming back to the sketchbook and trying to jump off these pages is awful. So I went back to drawing something that I really like, that even if I do it badly, it usually turns out well, which is flowers, abstract flowers. And this is based off of a print of irises by Alyssa Galitzina. I don't know. It was an advertisement I saw, actually, so I didn't even look her up. The colors are not the same, obviously. The idea is the same. I just really like it for some reason. It looks better without this next to it, but that's what I get for not caring about composition, because this is not about composition, it's about using the sketchbook. I really like this page, though. I always like the bleed through better than the other page. I don't know why. And here I am trying to make myself draw. I was doing another abstract thing. I was just cutting the paper up into triangles and shapes. And then I looked at it and decided I wanted to make a sunset. And that's what happened. And it's a fun concept and I like it. Oh, we're getting towards the end and I was getting desperate. So I'm practicing pan pastels in this little sketchbook to try and use it up and to test these pan pastels that I got on new paper. So I was just drawing that same blueberry scene that I've drawn a couple times now with Poscas and other markers. Here I am practicing cats again. I noticed that after Labor Day, I hadn't really sketched much in a while. So like all of that. Yeah, after Labor Day, I really hadn't sketched anything. So I was really trying to get back into sketching, struggling with cats. And so I started with this one, made him a little more cartoony until I was able to get into what I wanted, because I'm like, ugh, why are cats so difficult? But I really like this one. I just think that's cute. These are all Pinterest references. Here's another fish actually this is a sketch of a sketch, so I'm not sure what kind of fish this is. Corals, which I think this is a freshwater fish, and then bubbles, because I really like drawing bubbles and I really want to get better at executing them and making them look like bubbles. Oh, and I had attempted, you can see an attempt at something on this page. I absolutely hated it immediately. So, collage. This is probably my least favorite collage, just because it seems like I just put a background and then put things on top of the background. But I don't know why I can't get away from the sea monster concept. There must be something in my heart that screams sea monster when I start playing with collage. I should explore that more. At the river, playing with different pens. I have some fountain pens and they're very vibrant, and so I did a doodle of yellow flowers with them, but I don't have a yellow pen, so then I came back with my marker. And then of course more bees. And then I felt bad for not actually sketching, because that was the point. I need to practice sketching, so I made some baby birds, a chicken and a penguin. This was actually the last thing I drew in my sketchbook. I am trying to execute a piece with pan pastels, which I've never used before, and so I was trying to find a composition that would work for the colors that I have. But before that, I was actually playing with the pan pastels in here. A trick that I have for you to fill your sketchbook is when you're swatching things, swatch in the back of your sketchbook. But here is me playing with the pastels, just putting things down, swatching. That's how I use the back of my sketchbook, so that when I get to the end, it's actually already done. So this is the last page. The last page is the page that I do first. Yes, the last page is my first page of my sketchbook, because I write down my goals for this sketchbook. And for this one, it was don't be precious. Try new things. Carry this with me always and draw every day. Within reason. Reminding myself when I was stuck, if I didn't know what to draw, I could just go back here and go, right, don't be precious, just draw something. And that really, really helps. So I always put my actual goals for the sketchbook in the back of the sketchbook, so that while I'm working on it, I can remind myself of why I'm even working in the first place. So there you go. A sketchbook that I finished and I drew every single day in. For, I don't know, I think it took me 2 months, 180-ish pages, and I'm really proud of myself, and I think we're going to do it again. No, I know we're going to do it again. I'll see you next time.